Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome to the Cricket Happening Show a bit early today. On this particular Cricket Happening Show, we are going to look at Zimbabwe's reply. Zimbabwe in fact recovered from a score of 189 for 5 against Bangladesh on the third day to finish on a very good total. In fact, they really challenged the Bangladeshi total of 433 by posting 331 for 5 at close of play, thanks to a very large partnership that happened, which took the score from 189, which is still an unbeaten partnership, which is still carrying on. From 189 for 5, Zimbabwe has finished at 331 for 5. I thought it's an enormous recovery. This pair which I'm talking about is Hamilton Masakadza, who has got a century for Zimbabwe after a span of 13 years, and that's quite a long time, but he has really finished on a great high as far as the third day's play is concerned. He's still there unbeaten on 154, holding the innings together for Zimbabwe with 17 fours and 2 sixes, and giving him company is Chakabva, who has really come good at the right time. He's unbeaten on 75 with 10 fours, and both of them have put on a very good partnership of it is almost 142 runs unbeaten partnership that helped Zimbabwe finish on a real high on the third day's play after Bangladesh dominated the first and the second session. Well, so that is as far as this particular match is concerned. I'll be talking about that, and then we will look at the T20 match which happened between Australia and South Africa with a lot of new players in the team. And well, Australia losing the match by 7 wickets with Riliee Rossouw cracking an unbeaten 78. The talented Riliee Rossouw cracking an unbeaten 78 of just 50 deliveries with 7 fours and 3 sixes to win the match for South Africa and also take the man of the match. So Australia losing the first match against South Africa in the T20 International here at Adelaide Oval by 7 wickets. Well, so South Africa winning by 7 wickets. But first, what I'm going to do, I would really start off with the South Africa-Australia game that happened at the Adelaide Oval. This is the first 2020 International which was played, and this was the match which was played at the Adelaide Oval, the refurbished Adelaide Oval. Australians were the ones who batted first. Now, looking at the Australian card, I'm not going to go into detail. I'm just going to talk in general. The Australia in the 20 overs really struggled. There was some tight bowling from the South African bowlers, especially Kyle Abbott, who really stuck to the task. He was bowling with lots of pace and a very good length. In fact, they were not allowing the Aussie batsmen to score freely, and they restricted them to 144 for 6. Well, definitely it was not a good start for Australia. The opening pair of Aaron Finch, the Australian captain, and Cameron White putting on 33 for the first wicket. The first wicket to go was Aaron Finch, as he was out to McLaren for 14 of 11 balls with 2 fours. Cameron White contributing 24 of 21 balls with 3 fours. Shane Watson on his return back from injury did a fine turn. In fact, he was the highest scorer with 47 of 36 balls. He scored 3 sixes in his knock, didn't have a single boundary. Ben Duncan, who came as number 2, definitely failed here as he was caught by Domini of the bowling by Imran Tahir for 2. Reardon was making his test debut. Ben Duncan, Reardon made their T20 international debuts, but they couldn't really capitalize. As Reardon was also out cheaply for 4 of 8 balls, and then it took James Faulkner to play an innings where James Faulkner, the all-rounder, was the one who played a very good innings of unbeaten 41 of 33 balls with 1 4 and 1 6 to take Australia to a score that they could defend of 144 for 6 of that 20 overs. Ben Cutting was out for 6, and one has to really credit the South African bowlers. They bowled with lots of fire. Kigo Rabada, who actually took the South Africa to the 119 World Cup with that splendid performance, as you would remember, made his one-day international T20 debut. He was a bit costly, 3 overs costing him 27, but Kyle Abbott coming back into the South African team, really did a good turn for himself by bowling in the right areas, 4 overs no maiden, 21 runs, and he picked up 3 wickets. Wayne Parnell, 4 overs no maiden, 1 for 28. Ryan McLaren, 3 overs, 1 for 27. Duminy bowled 2 overs for 8. Imran Tahir bowled 4 overs no maiden, 1 for 31. As far as the South African bowling was concerned, as I said, it was absolutely on the mark. They really stuck to their task pretty well. And what was more important was that normally, as you remember, as you would know, when the final overs are coming, which we call them the death overs, the runs really rattle. But here it was a different scenario altogether, thanks to Kyle Abbott really bowling some very good Yorkers and bowling some very good length deliveries, and that really didn't allow the Australians to free their arms, and they finished at 144 for 6. In fact, for the last 26 balls that was bowled by the South African bowlers, yielded not a single boundary. So that really tells you how good the South Africans have bowled against the Australians today. Now, as far as South Africa were concerned, they started their chase to a chase of 145 for victory. Reza Hendricks, who came into the match today, was an early victim today. He was out to the bowling of ball injured. Ben Dunk behind the wickets, taking his maiden international catch. It was a good catch which was taken by Ben Dunk behind the wickets, and he was sent back to the pavilion for a duck. And after that, 2 youngsters who could be the future as far as South Africa are concerned, probably in the near future one could say. It was Quinton de Kock and Riliee Rossouw at the crease. And Riliee Rossouw, as you know, he's a very talented player. Whatever limited opportunities he has got, he has not been able to really capitalize. But today we saw Riliee Rossouw strokes in full flow as he hit some beautifully sweetly timed sixes. He swung a delivery into the stands and into the crowd. He hit 3 sixes in all, combining very well with Quinton de Kock, was also playing very well. And well, for Quinton de Kock and Riliee Rossouw, well, they played some very good cricketing strokes. There was not much of any any big hits or something. So basically it was all some very good cricketing strokes that they played, and that enabled them to have a very good partnership. In fact, Australia tasted early success by getting rid of Reza Hendricks, the opener. But Quinton de Kock and Riliee Rossouw saw to it that South Africa will win the match by really providing a sound base by adding 129 runs for the second wicket, with Quinton de Kock contributing 46 of 39 deliveries with 4 fours and 1 6. Riliee Rossouw, as I said, was timing the ball pretty sweetly. If you look at his knock, that will really give you the feeling how well Riliee Rossouw played. He cracked 78 runs of 50 deliveries with 7 fours and 3 sweetly timed sixes and cleanly hit sixes. And Riliee Rossouw went on to take the Man of the Match award for his wonderful 78. After that, it was a mere formality. Duminy, the captain, remained not out on 6 of 12 balls. David Miller not out on 9 with 1 4, and South Africa were over the line in the 19th over at 145 for 3. So South Africa winning the first T20 international against Australia by 7 wickets. The bowling, well, in contrast to the South African bowlers, well, the Australian bowlers really struggled. They were not really hitting their lengths properly, and they were getting some real punishment at the punishment at the hands of the 2 batsmen, Quinton de Kock and Riliee Rossouw. Ball injured, 3 overs, 1 for 22. Patrick Cummins on his return, what one saw was that it was a changed bowling action as far as Patrick Cummins was concerned. His pace had probably dropped, but I thought he bowled superbly, because if you look at his bowling analysis, he bowled 4 overs for 21 runs and he picked up 1 wicket too. He picked up the wicket of Riliee Rossouw. It didn't really matter, but Kane Richardson, 3 overs, none for 28 for him. Shane Watson on his return bowled 1 over where 13 runs were taken, and that was that 6 which Riliee Rossouw hit. Actually, he swung Watson high, wide and handsome into the stands and into the crowd for a massive 6. 1 over for 13. Cameron Boyce, 4 overs, no maiden, 1 for 31, the leg spinner. James Faulkner, 3 overs, none for 17, and Ben Cunning bowled 1 over for 11 runs. So South Africa leading the 3-match T20 international series against Australia 1-0. With its second international, which is coming up, the second 2020 international is going to be coming up, the MCG, the Melbourne Cricket Ground. That will be later. Well, so now I'll be leaving you from here, and we will head off towards Bangladesh at Khulna, where Zimbabwe started their reply to Bangladesh. As you know, yesterday they won out for 433. So Zimbabwe actually starting out on their overnight score with Brian Chari and Hamilton Masakadza at the crease. And well, Chari was playing well before he was undone by a delivery from Tajul Islam, where Tommy Iqbal took the catch, and Brian Chari was out for 25 with 1-4 and 1-6. We made the score 84 for 2. Brendan Taylor joined in. Hamilton Masakadza, I wouldn't say initially in the morning he looked a bit shaky, but slowly got over it in fine fashion in the company of Brendan Taylor, who, as you know, we all know that Brendan Taylor, the Zimbabwean captain, is a very good player of spin bowling. We definitely saw that, how he was actually showing some very good defense and some good technique against the spinners. He was also coming down the ground and he slammed 1-6-2, and Brendan Taylor was playing very well, using the sweep shot to good effect, and Hamilton Masakadza on the other end was also growing in confidence with his cut shots, with his square drives, and his pulling that he used to do. It was very good to see, and both of them slowly started building together a very, very useful partnership for Zimbabwe, and the partnership yielded 77 runs, 77 valuable runs before and the lunch. I mean, they were looking pretty good at lunchtime, but after the lunch session, Shakib Ul Hasan came in and picked up 3 wickets. First, he knocked off the wicket of Brendan Taylor when he was caught by Momin ul Haq for 37, 4 fours and 1 6. Craig Irvine was out for 17, caught behind of the bowling of Shakib Ul Hasan, 17 with two boundaries, and Chigumbra was also a victim. Suddenly, the Zimbabwean innings, which was really looking pretty good, at the score of 151 for 2, when Brendan Taylor and Masakadza were the crease, they slumped to 189 for 5, and probably Bangladesh would have thought that they have dismissed half the the Zimbabwean batsmen. They probably would be a chance for them to take a big lead here. But all those hopes were quashed because Hamilton Masakadza in the middle was looking confident, he was looking pretty good, but he also required someone to actually stand with him, someone actually to support him, and that came in the form of Riliee Chakabva. Riliee Chakabva, what he did is as he came onto the crease, he decided that there's no need to really take into the pressure. So he decided to adopt an aggressive approach by sweeping his first ball to the boundary and then picking up runs by stroking for boundaries. And suddenly we saw that Hamilton Masakadza and Chakabva slowly started building together this partnership, with Chakabva gaining in confidence in the company of Hamilton Masakadza. And suddenly from 189 for 5, it was some good going for the Zimbabweans, as the bowlers were not able to really get the wickets, and Hamilton Masakadza was playing pretty, was looking supremely confident. Chakabva was also growing in confidence. In fact, he was timing the ball pretty sweetly and in a very, very fluent manner, and Riliee Chakabva was slowly going from strength to strength, and that enabled them, Zimbabwe, to finish on a real high score of 331 for 5. As I said, Bangladeshi bowlers really would have been surprised with the partnership. As I said, this is a partnership which has taken Zimbabwe. It was a tremendous recovery, I thought. From 189 for 5, Bangladesh hopes were really quashed with this partnership, which enabled Zimbabwe to close the day's play on the third day at 331 for 5. So now they are only 102 runs behind Bangladesh, with Hamilton Masakadza, as I said, after a gap of 13 years, getting on to his 4th Test 100, and what a century that was. He was not out on 154 with 17 fours and 2 beautifully hit sixes. As Hamilton Masakadza, when he hits it, he hits it in a very, very powerful manner, and I'm very happy for Hamilton Masakadza that he has really come into some great form here in this particular series. And Chakabva would also have done a lot of good for himself as far as his chances are concerned, and he was unbeaten on 75 with an attractive looking innings with 10 boundaries into that knock punched in, and Zimbabwe finished at close of play on 331 for 5. Now looking at the the Bangladeshi bowling card. Shahadat Hussain, 11 overs, 2 men, none for 24. The spinners were really blunted, according to me, by Hamilton, Masakadza and Chakabva, who adopted a very good aggressive approach and slowly started building up this particular Zimbabwean innings. Tajul Islam, 30 overs, 6 maidens, 2 for 94. Chakabva was the one who really had the Zimbabwe innings slumping after the lunch time, but after that there was no joy for Bangladesh. As Chakabva, 30 overs, 6 maidens, 70 runs and 3 wickets. Riliee Rossouw, the leg spinner, 18 overs, 2 maidens, none for 63. Riliee Rossouw bowled 13 overs, 4 maidens, none for 31. Shurgatahum, 7 overs, none for 27. Mominul Haq, 1 over, which was a maiden. Mahmudullah bowled 2 overs, none for 13. So Bangladesh I would say that Bangladesh would have been a bit surprised. They would have not expected this, but I thought Zimbabwe have done a very good thing for themselves by putting on 331 for 5. So it would be very important for Zimbabwe batsmen tomorrow. That is, we are talking about the 4 days play, which is coming up tomorrow at Khulna, where Hamilton, Masakadza and Chakabva has to really carry on this partnership. And probably Hamilton Masakadza has to go and hit a double century, and Masakadza has to go and hit Hamilton Masakadza has to hit a double century, and Chakabva probably has to make a century. If both of them could do this, then what Zimbabwe could do is that they could actually get onto this Zimbabwean score, to the Bangladeshi score of 433, and probably take a slender lead and probably put the pressure on Bangladesh in this second test match. But again, that is all going to be interesting. The interesting 4 days play is definitely coming up at Khulna. It will be interesting to see whether the Bangladeshi bowlers can strike in early in the morning on the 4th day. Well, dear fans and subscribers, there is also one more match which is starting, the second one-day international, which is going to be started at Ahmedabad at Gujarat between India and Sri Lanka. As you know, Sri Lanka would be hoping that they could actually restrict India tomorrow, in the sense they could put up their best show, because it was their first match. One could understand that there would have been lack of match practice. But tomorrow, the second one-day international is going to be starting between India and Sri Lanka, going to be played at the Motera Stadium here in Ahmedabad. So that is coming up. Not going to do any previews of that, because we know that India really dominated, but Sri Lanka would be hoping that they could really challenge India tomorrow in the second one-day international. Well, dear fans and subscribers, always a pleasure talking on the Cricket Happening Show. Today it was an early Cricket Happening Show. I hope you all enjoyed it, dear fans and subscribers, as usual. Thanks for your continued company with this Cricket Happening Show. Your host Ram will like to sign off for the day by saying thank you, and I'll be seeing you all tomorrow in my next cricket show. Until then, it's goodbye from your host Ram Studios. Thank you.